This kid is amazing. I kind of knew something like this was coming, but I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. And clearly, this kid is one of a kind. And I think for a couple of reasons. One, because it was crafted with such, care and love, but also because no kid grows up dreaming about becoming a Jewish professional. That just doesn't happen. I thought about this. There's no Little People Rabbi's Collection. There is no Fisher-Price JCC Camp playset, and there is definitely not Barbie is a Federation CEO. But, yeah. But I think that's what makes this profession really special. You can get a master's degree for sure, but it's also not the kind of job where you can rely on instruction manuals, clear guidelines, or guardrails. Instead, you learn these kinds of jobs through lived experience, and particularly from all of the rich learnings that are passed down by treasured mentors. Sounds familiar. Ancient Jewish wisdom teaches us that if you find yourself a teacher, you will acquire for yourself a friend. And I've been very fortunate to do just that. So they're back there, but I want to share my deep thanks to my mentors and my really dear friends, Margie and Rob. Thank you. Look at us. This room is filled with exceptional people. In my last 11 years of the Federation, and I realized this during our cocktail hour and a half, that I've actually had the opportunity to meet and get to know and learn with and work with and travel with so many of you. And to those I haven't had the chance to meet yet, please know that I extend my hand to you in friendship. I've lived and worked in a lot of different cities. Some of you have heard me go through this role before. I've lived in New York City, in Boston, in Baltimore, and in Pittsburgh. And because I've been a Jewish professional in so many communities, I feel as if I have it on good authority to say that Buffalo really is exceptional, right? For me and my family, I hope you had a chance to meet my husband and my kids, Buffalo has been a place of surprising abundance. But, in thinking about it, I probably shouldn't have been so surprised, because Buffalo has always been a place of ingenuity. Our people built the Erie Canal, we built steam-powered grain elevators, we invented the pacemaker. I learned, actually, we apparently invented air conditioning. Who would have thought? And of course, our significant culinary contribution to North America, the wing. We're resilient. We've weathered the greatest of storms, both figurative and literal. Buffalonians are tough, but we're still kind of nimble. We're clever. We are very loyal. I learned that very early on, and hopelessly positive, especially about football. When I was sort of thinking about all of this, what I realized is what's interesting about Buffalo, the qualities that sort of make Buffalo Buffalo, they're really two things. They're rooted in collaborative work and in the joy in being part of a community. Community, collective responsibility, these are also the central building blocks of Jewish life. So while I was preparing, I remembered this quote from Golda Meir. She once said, "I never did anything alone. Whatever this country accomplished was accomplished collectively." In the last decade in which I've worked and lived here and led in Buffalo, we have all accomplished a lot together. We engaged in a slow and thoughtful effort to institutionally right-size Jewish Buffalo. We reduced the number of agencies, we've consolidated back-end services, and we recruited some pretty exceptional professionals to town. Welcome, Cantor Susie. And we've also helped Jewish people and families flourish. We've ensured places for belonging and sustained support for core components of Jewish communal life. And at the Buffalo Jewish Federation in particular, we established Secure Jewish Buffalo. We answered the call to strengthen civic partnerships. We launched immersive travel experiences. We've been all over the world. Join us in Morocco this spring if you're interested. We also prioritized learning and engagement. We launched Life and Legacy in partnership with the Foundation for Jewish Philanthropies, and we negotiated the sale of Federation housing, both critical strategic decisions that will secure the fiscal sustainability of the Federation and our community far into the future. This and all of our other incredible work put Buffalo on the national Jewish map. You might not know this, but for years, we have been repeatedly recognized by Jewish Federations of North America as a model for Federation communities of our size. We've been celebrated for our innovative and our courageous work. And then October 7th, 2023, the day that forever altered reality for Jewish people around the globe. We were, and I would argue that we are, to a significant extent, devastated. At the Federation, our work was reprioritized, and we're just now beginning to understand some of the long-range implications for Jewish peoplehood and for the work of the Federation movement. In the 11 months since October 7th, I want to tell you a little bit about what the Federation's done. We have significantly enhanced our security infrastructure because nothing is more essential than ensuring Jews are and feel safe. So we've increased visible security, we've offered additional support to partner agencies and synagogues, and we further strengthened our partnerships with law enforcement. They were good to begin with, but we're working even more closely together on preventative planning. And I just want to add a note here. Security for the Jewish community is so much more than what you see. It's not just off-duty law enforcement in front of buildings. There's an entire network of connections and communication that happens behind the scenes that's critical to ensuring all of our institutions are safe. We also sent 2 buses to March for Israel and Washington, D.C. We nurtured old and built new partnerships with superintendents and leadership from 12 school districts. We worked closely on both incident response, which was critical, but also we pushed curricular and professional development resources into Buffalo area K-12 schools. And thanks to a generous donor, we enabled 4 educators from 4 different school districts to travel with us to Poland and Vienna this past spring. A few of them are here tonight. And they've shared with us that they came back with a greater understanding of Jewish life and Jewish history, and that the experience profoundly impacted their teaching. We also deepened our relationship with Hillel of Buffalo to partner on the critical work being done right here at UB to ensure Jewish staff, faculty, safety, and success. And we navigated working with the media, which you're going to hear more about shortly. We offered on-air comments on the rise in anti-Semitism. We spoke out against anti-Israel rhetoric. We also organized media events, and we went into newsrooms, providing news professionals the chance to learn about Jewish Buffalo, anti-Semitism, and very importantly, what life is like for American Jewry post-October 7th. We toiled side by side with local, state, federal elected officials. Thank you to those who are here standing by our sides again tonight. We worked to secure funding and other forms of support to combat Jew hatred, and one of those efforts led to the stunning Righteous Among the Nations mural, which was unveiled at Roswell Park this past spring. It's part of Yom HaShoah. If you haven't had a chance to go and see it, please do. It's magnificent, and we're so grateful to our partnership with Roswell that really made this happen. We also convened Jewish professionals. We did our regular work. We supported partner agencies. We gathered small groups of Buffalo's Jewish leaders to plan and prepare as we were all trying to navigate uncharted waters. But all the while, we never lost focus on our commitment to create opportunities for joyful, accessible expressions of Judaism. 500 people attended last year's PJ Library Hanukkah party, and we're expecting it was wonderful. We're expecting a big crowd again this year because the party is going to be held at the Key Bank Center, thanks to a wonderful partnership with the Sabres Foundation. Ooh. And of course, we also shared our love, our fears, our fight and our hope with our family in Israel. Over Yom HaZikaron, in partnership with the JCC, we brought 3 active IDF soldiers and officers to Buffalo. They gave us a window into their lives and their work. And then in June, Federation sent 12 senior leaders, including 2 amazing teens, to Israel on a solidarity mission, and you're going to hear more about that shortly. And then in July, we brought 2 lovely families from Nir Yitzhak, a moshav, like a kibbutz in the Gaza envelope. We brought them to Buffalo just for a month of respite, to relax and enjoy. But while they were here, they shared their stories with us. They talked about the horrors they experienced on October 7th, and they talked to us about the complexities of life in Israel since that day. In just 2 weeks, we will observe the 1-year anniversary of that dark day. To mark this moment, Buffalo will gather to mourn, embrace from afar the survivors and the families of the fallen. We will express our gratitude to communal partners and allies for their love and their solidarity. And we will pray and advocate for the 101 people who are still being held hostage by Hamas terrorists. In the last 11 months, I've talked to so many of you, and you've been made to feel unsafe, alone, afraid, and many of us have struggled to openly share our pride in being Jewish. It's been really hard, but beautiful things always emerge from times of great stress. There's been a surge of interest in Jewish life. We've forged wonderful new alliances. We have found our voices, and in all ways, we are rising to meet this moment together. Our professionals, our board, our volunteer leaders, agency partners, our donors, and each of you working together. Amid the challenges of the last year, we've found immense strength in one another and hope, and I think a recommitment to Federation's vision for a flourishing Jewish community. For some of us, every day this month, we've listened to the sound of the shofar. It's a piercing sound, and as you know, its purpose is to sort of call us, to wake us up from our slumber. And I think this year in particular, the shofar is waking us up to our tremendous potential as a community, and also our tremendous potential as individuals. And even though we still face critical long-term challenges, today I choose to turn a hopeful gaze towards 5783. And I hope you'll join me. I don't have time to go into every detail, but I love to talk about Jewish Buffalo and the Federation and the work we do. So I'm going to end my talk now by sharing 6 of the Federation's key priorities for the coming year. This is just a little window into the engine that drives our mission to build and sustain a flourishing Jewish community here in Buffalo. 1, community relations. No longer a standalone entity, community relations is the Buffalo Jewish Federation. We play an essential and indispensable role representing the entire Jewish community. And this year, we will develop a higher level of expertise and expand our capacity to be in more relationships with more of Buffalo's most influential civic, faith, and business leaders. Israel. Federation will be focused on 2 things: mobilizing networks to advocate and educate, as well as getting more Jews and civic partners to Israel, boots on the ground. We have 2 trips already planned for 2025. And long term, we're embarking on a new partnership relationship, and our goal is to really figure out how to build long-lasting, authentic relationships between Buffalonians and Israelis. Combating anti-Semitism, of course, security, of course. Our sustained approach in this space also includes a continued focus on K-12 educational spaces. It's really important. And thanks to the leadership of our Holocaust Education Resource Organization, we have a really cool new tool in our tool belts. In December, Buffalo will become home to a mobile museum of tolerance. It's a project of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and it's a bus. It's a living and traveling classroom that uses immersive technology to teach lessons about the Holocaust, civil rights, hatred, tolerance, and it will live in Buffalo for a year. And P.S., all of these wonderful superintendents we have relationships with are like vying for first dibs. There's a lot of text messages going back, like, when's the schedule coming out? We want to book the bus. It's really exciting. Leadership and engagement. We are stepping up our work. We need to identify and develop future Jewish leaders, like Marnie Marciano, and our brand new Kolot Fellows, Alyssa Strang and Talia Fold. I hope you'll have a chance to learn more about the Kolot Fellowship soon. These amazing women will attend the Jewish Federations of North America's General Assembly in November, and they'll have an opportunity to see the power of our entire North American movement in action. Just so you know, long term, we're starting to think about ways to better prepare our children and our teens, not only to face the world, but to lead boldly and bravely through the lens of their Jewish values. Funding support, the Federation will continue to serve as the backbone of the community, convening, funding our partner entities, and sending critical dollars overseas to support our global Jewish family. And Jewish engagement and Jewish joy. We will stand up our sustaining engagement efforts like adult learning and PJ Library, in addition to 2 new projects, Midlife Engagement and Next Gen Jewish Buffalo. And we'll continue to design and deploy new Jewish learning and living opportunities, as always, as we do, with a focus on creating spaces for people who don't traditionally or don't always feel like they are part of the community. This is just a snapshot. But if you remember one thing from tonight, I hope it is that a strong Buffalo Jewish Federation is essential to a successful and safe and flourishing Jewish Buffalo. So on behalf of Margie Bryan and Mark Brown, Rob Goldberg, the entire Federation Board of Governors, our exceptional professional team, thank you. Thank you so much. To those of you who've been a part of this work for a lifetime, and that's many of you, working with us for a lifetime, we appreciate you so much. Stay the course with us, please. And to those of you who are newer to supporting or engaging with the Federation, we're so glad you're here. And you are an important part of our collective sacred work. Now, I'm done. Thanks for listening.